A roll call to call the meeting to order. Our first agenda item are the minutes of the September 9th meeting. In lieu of any questions, I'd look for a motion to approve those, but certainly ask any questions.
Motion by P. Corp.
Second, Rizzo. Good morning.
Thank you, gentlemen. Good morning. Minutes are carried. Moving on to the local labor report, I did hear Kevin on the line. Kevin, if you could speak to that.
Yes, good morning. So this report will cover our September visit. September visit between the 1st and 30th. During this period, we made 3 monthly site visits. There were no follow-ups made during this period. We checked the residency of 24 workers. Of those, there were 0 non-compliant. As of September 30th, all sites were in compliance. And there was 1 new sign delivered to True North Rochester Mark Street, LLC.
Thank you. Any questions for Kevin?
All set.
Great. Thank you, Kevin. Boy, that report's getting monotonous. You're just in compliance every month, which is a really
We're
good
doing good. Yes, it is.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Greg, if you're on the line, if you'll take us through the important numbers.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Through 3 quarters of the year, September 30th, balance sheet continues to remain strong in terms of cash and our loans that we continue to collect on for the revolving loan fund. The loans receivable will start next fiscal year. You can see those represented on the balance sheet. And again, of course, accounts payable and accounts accrued liabilities are consistent with what we have budgeted for in normal operating expenses to account for timing. So looking at our revenue and expenses down at the bottom here, as you can see, the bond fee, which represents the $646,000, really helps push us to exceeding budgets and certainly exceeding prior years. So again, $847,000 of revenue year to date compared to $150,000 last year. The budget again agrees in total. It's a little bit hard to predict when those things happen, but again, as you can see, we're way ahead of budget, certainly way ahead of last year. Again, if you look at our expenses, are about $20,000 in total less than they were a year ago. And again, if we normalize our operations in terms of removing the funding, the $1 million funding we received from Comida, we're at about a $72,000 deficit year to date, which is substantially, almost $700,000, over $700,000 better than we were a year ago, and certainly a little less than $1 million compared to budget. So again, the budget, the funding of the bonds do affect obviously how we compare. It's always hard to predict those, but again, taking the conservative approach, I think we're in a good position so far through 9 months.
Thank you, Greg. Questions for Greg? Very good to see that bond funding. Important local project for our community. Great, thank you again, Greg.
Thanks.
As we do annually, and we've done for a number of years, I want to bring Anna to talk about the Monroe County Finger Lakes PTAC. Anna, if you're on, if you'll take us through another exciting year for PTAC.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me, Peter. I greatly appreciate it, and the board. Hope you've all remained safe and healthy through these crazy times, and I sincerely appreciate your continued support of PTAC. I know you have a presentation, and I've been asking for 5 minutes, so I'm going to move along fairly quickly, but just stop me with any questions. I do believe you're all fairly familiar with the program overall. First slide, the second slide rather, is just a refresher slide indicating, that we are a program currently administered under DL, Department of Defense's Defense Logistics Agency, and we do serve as a resource for all businesses pursuing and performing under government contracts. That means large businesses, small businesses, as well as support for government agencies in terms of reaching their contract goals. We are one of 95 PTACs nationwide, including the territories of Guam, Puerto Rico, and Mariana Islands. Next page. Very excited that PTAC has new office spaces, and this is all a big thanks to Anna Liz for making this happen. I do want you to know that the PTAC remains open throughout the pandemic, but our new offices are in the now Monroe County Conference Center. I invite you all to stop down and visit us. It's a beautiful space, and I can't thank Anna enough for that and for recognizing the PTAC as such a great resource that we have in this area. Next slide on that page, just a quick overview of our services. In addition to the webinars, workshops, the government to business matchmaker, which I'm going to be highlighting one that we have coming up. Really, again, the bulk of our work is done in the one-on-one counseling arena. We don't just help with government contracts, we also assist DoD small business innovation research grants and tech transfer grants as well. Our service territory remains the same, the 9 counties Finger Lakes territory. Next page. And here's where this is kind of an eye chart in terms of the types of registrations and certifications. This is one piece of what we do with our clients. But I really want to give a big shout out to our PTAC procurement counselor, Matt Burrell. He's retired Air Force, he's wonderful, and he really gets businesses through this certification process in a very efficient manner. So very proud to have him on our team. In terms of our PTAC program reporting metrics, they remain the same. Our goaling is defined by the Defense Logistics Agency. They look at the number of new clients. They also look at the number of our overall clients, amount of counseling time, and number of participated events. And those goals are set by DLA based on our budget. Next page. So just a quick highlight and let you know that the Department of Defense's focus, one of their main focuses does remain in the cyber domain. So we are going to be working closely with them in that effort. Below that, some regulatory updates, prohibition on contracting with certain telecommunications and video surveillance services or equipment. There's the usual suspects. Please share it with your IT folks. I'm sure they know about it already. And then just a quick update in terms of the new certification process that the SBA has rolled out regarding economically disadvantaged, that's the ED, woman-owned small business. So PTAC has been instrumental throughout this process by providing training sessions in conjunction with the SBA, as well as that direct one-on-one and getting businesses through the certification itself. So the next page. So we're currently closing out our DoD fiscal year funds for 2019. And we just closed that out at the end of August 31st, 2020. We closed the year. So our satisfaction survey results, which we were required to report to DLA, 48% overall response rate of active clients, and our overall rating was 4.68 out of 5. In terms of our goaling that we achieved for this previous year that we just finished, we did great. We surpassed all our goals again, and we always strive to surpass those goals. Next slide. So in terms of the small business stats in government contracts reported to us, we actually closed out a little bit higher than this number. We had some late reports. So for Monroe County businesses reported $56.12 million in contracts, and that would be federal, state, and municipal contracts, whether they served as a prime or a subcontractor. And then overall in the 9-county region, that would update to $97.91 million. So it was really a good year considering everything that was going on. Okay, next page. Now we enter our current year, which we just started September 1st to August 31st. I wanted to give you an update on that. So you can see that our DLA has set our goals. The sheet as follows. In the next page, I wanted to quickly highlight that and acknowledge that one of our clients, Viewsport, recently received the Small Business Administration's District Award as Government Contracting Champion. Previously, only large businesses received this recognition. And Ben Wood, who's the CEO, he's very savvy. They currently hold the official Future Soldier apparel for the entirety of the Marine Corps, and previously had held it for the Army. We've already held a webinar recently on our bid match service. So that's a free service paid through the PTAC budget for our active clients, where they receive daily email notifications of potential bids they might want to bid on. Next slide. So you should have the Project Spectrum slide up there. This encourage you to share with all your IT departments as well. Project Spectrum is the latest tool in America's cybersecurity portfolio. It's a Department of Defense sponsored initiative. We are partnering with them on a webinar on Thursday, October 29th. Following that, we'll be partnering with actually a live event, call it, where we will be complying with all, how shall I say, we'll be wearing masks and there'll be hand gel and we'll be separated, where it's going to be out the street from where I'm at the Watts Conference Center. It's a very limited event on government industry roundtable focused on manufacturing in terms of what's happening in that contracting arena. We plan on rolling this out into a larger webinar after we get some great minds. We already have Northrop Grumman that's participating, as well as we're getting L3 Harris. Somebody from the Air Force is going to be able to dial in on that. And we have a couple others in the making. So next slide, that's our virtual event that we are holding. It's a little bit different. Normally we have our government business matchmaker in conjunction with the Veterans Business Council. Due to COVID this year, we'll be hosting a virtual event with Ohio, Pennsylvania, and upstate New York, all the PTACs in those regions. There's no charge for anyone to participate. We think it's going to be an excellent event. And now, as I've always planned for this, for the coming year, my fiscal year 21 funds, so our fiscal year for 21 is September 1st through August 31st of 22. So September 1st, 21, August 31st, 22. The application is due on or about May 1st, and we are requesting level funding, so no increase, but we've been funded for $91,260. New this year that the DoD is upping the program match by 10%. That means we don't decrease, but they give us an extra 10%. It's a very popular program, the PTACs, with receiving strong support. And so the Congress wants the program expanded in order to increase outreach and support to businesses. So I know that was really quick, but any questions?
Thanks, Anna. You know, folks, this is a really important partnership for us. And I want to compliment you on your presentation here. It's if a dense person like me can understand it, it's really good. You know, your outreach. You know, you continue to do more with level funding, which we appreciate, and I think it's great that you're more proximate to us at the county. That's great with your move. I've got questions for Anna.
Thank you so much, Peter.
Anna, this is Joe Rizzo. Good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. I just wanted to emphasize, you know, what Peter was saying. It's excellent presentation and continued excellent work, and also very much appreciate your passion and energy for this. It always comes out when you present. So very, very good work, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate that.
Great. Well said, Joe. Thank you. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. We are going to talk about this a little bit more in executive session. I'm going to move on for right now and recognize the chair of our finance committee. Jeff, if you're on the line.
I'm here.
We had a finance committee. Oh, go ahead, Peter.
No. It's all you.
Oh, we had a finance committee meeting last week to discuss the 2021 proposed budget, and the budget's available in the presentation. And Anna, do you want to highlight any of it for us?
Sure. Thank you. So as you can see, we, in light of the emergency loan program and in light of COVID and the crisis, we took a cautious approach going into the new year, understanding also that the county executive will be seeking to get more involved in our programming and operations as we move forward and hopefully move into a full reopening of the economy within the next 12 months, optimistically speaking. So of course it's difficult, if not impossible, to budget for bond fee income, though this year has been a very good one in that regard. We zeroed out Big Brothers Big Sisters, Make Monroe Home, Rockets, and Second Chance Monroe, again, because of COVID and the emergency loan program, and to make room for other community benefit programs to address the current economic situation. And we also reduced our professional services budgeted expenses by a great deal, mostly via contracted services. So with that, I'd like to open it up for your comments and questions. Our focus in putting this budget together was to make way for flexibility and to be somewhat conservative in anticipation of what the next several months have in store for us. Oh, and Greg's on the phone as well. So Greg, if you want to, Greg, could you make a couple of comments about this?
Yeah, sure. So, like Anna said, in terms of conservative approach, not necessarily budgeting for bond fee income this year, as we have in the years past. But again, we're able to continue to support these programs more than ever because of our strong balance sheet, right? So that's where we feel comfortable continuing to support all these different programs, all the incentive programs, certainly in these challenging times. So that is all reflected in the budget.
I'll text her.
Great questions on the budget. I know many of us are involved in our own budget processes, so not looking for a free-for-all here, but
Greg, actually, Greg, it's Jeff. Just in terms of the additional conservatism that we did try to, or you guys did try to do, you might want to talk about the loan loss reserve of 92,000 that we've added.
Yeah. Again, guys, everyone knows that we've have 1.84, based on our program loaned out. We wanted to account for that in terms of more of an accounting GAAP compliant number. That number is a purely an estimate of the total outstanding balance as of today. I think it represents 5% of today's loans that we're going to reserve in terms of potential losses. And that's reflected again in the budget. And that's of course new and we've never had that before.
The flip side of that, should we be budgeting any more interest income on those loans?
Well, again, there's no interest on those loans. In terms of the emergency loan fund, I believe they're interest free.
Thank you.
I think.
And this is Phil Smith. Do we think the 92,000 is
sufficient? You know, Phil, I would say it's a good estimate as we have today. I mean, obviously, the people on this board, in terms of the expertise, in terms of all of our financial institutions, if you have any comments, and again, we don't know, we want to do something, right? And as we get into how the first months and twos of when the paybacks start in January and December, we may have to adjust that. I mean, if anyone has any strong feelings about whether 5% is enough, again, we try to do our best due diligence, again, talking to people, talking to other people, talking to, you know, in the community, understand how business is going, and we settled on 5% right now, Phil.
Okay, thanks.
One thing I'm advocating for, and this is Anna, the county executive has to determine how to spend down the CARES Act money that was granted to Monroe County by end of December, and he's interested in pursuing avenues to support small businesses. And I've put in a request for them to make MCIDC whole on the loans and such that we can communicate to the small businesses that those loans are now effectively grants. However, I don't have an answer on that quite yet. So rest assured, I'm advocating for it, but that'll take a little bit of time. I've been told that there's some flexibility as to how we can spend those dollars to support small businesses. So this would be an allowable expenditure on the part of the county.
Great. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Greg. And yeah, thank you for overseeing this. I'm going to move along here, and I'm seeking a motion to enter into executive session.
I'll make the motion, Andy.
If I can have Andy as a second.
Yep.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Great. We have a couple of loans to discuss, and before I turn